That disturbing video you're watching, as we first told you yesterday, is making the rounds on social media. The neighbor says it shows a foster child screaming during the winter storm after her foster parents allegedly put her outside as a form of punishment. New tonight, we're hearing from a mom whose kids were in that exact same foster home but have since been returned to her. News Channel 8's Tanya Motorzitsky with the disturbing details of her children's stay and how Cherokee Nation courts told DHS not to place any more kids in that home. Tanya.
Brenna, the biological mom of that little girl in the video, says she is still with that foster family tonight. And I know this story has upset so many of you at home. But the mom I spoke with, who says her kids were in that same foster home before this little girl, she says that her children were sexually and physically abused and neglected while in that Haskell home.
What does justice look like for you and your kids and your husband? And
for this home to be shut down and for them to not ever have children again. So I don't want no other children to ever be abused or neglected or harmed or, yeah, they do all of that, you know? Huh?
Jail time?
More than that, really, honestly. You know, I feel like they should be on death row.
That's Kristen Leanne McKee, a mom of 5 whose children spent almost 2 years in the Oklahoma Department of Human Services system.
I fought for almost 2 years.
The entire time?
The entire time. And we did parenting classes, substance abuse, domestic violence about 3 or 4 different times. I have 3 or 4 certificates that they made me do.
In order to regain them.
To get them back.
And were placed in the same foster home as this little girl who was seen on video screaming that she's cold during the winter storm earlier this week for allegedly being punished by the foster parents during an autistic episode. We aren't naming the foster parents until warrants from the Muskogee District Attorney are filed. The DA's office says it's an active investigation at the moment, but we were able to confirm it's the same foster family that McKee says physically and sexually abused her kids.
When my kids came home, like I said, I don't know if I told you, but there was a lot of disclosures that were made to me and my husband. They had behaviors, like very odd, weird, uncomfortable behaviors that me and my husband witnessed that no child should know or even be aware of. Well, when we would give the boys baths, we've caught them all playing with each other. And when I've questioned them, they told me that would play with them. And there's been like games. I don't know what they're really called. I don't want to ask them just yet. But there's been games that they would play.
She says she got her kids back in June of 2024 after the Cherokee Nation Indian Child Welfare Court was made aware of the abuse after a family team visit where the foster mom had a meltdown in front of everyone.
She would have tantrums, like mental breakdown tantrums, crying.
Did you witness this too?
Yes, yeah, this was all on our family team meeting calls.
DHS says safety and well-being of children are a priority, and we want to reassure the public all safety concerns related to this situation are being addressed. McKee says that meltdown the foster mom had is when ICW started investigating. ICW report says the court ordered DHS not to return the kids to the foster home. The report goes on to say ICW had ongoing concerns about the foster home, saying there were multiple issues with the foster mom interfering with the parents' visitation, and that the foster mom was coaching the child, telling the child to act up during visits by running around, act goofy, and scream and cry during visits with his parents. ICW ultimately reported they are concerned that the children returning to the foster home would result in emotional damage to the children. McKee says it was an effort by the foster parents to show DHS she was not a fit mom and to take her kids away permanently so the foster parents could adopt her kids.
And DHS was going to allow it. I promise you they were going to if they could have gotten away with it.
McKee says her oldest told therapists, school counselors, and others about the sexual abuse, and it's been documented. But when the FBI got involved, he got scared to talk.
I think he doesn't talk about it now, honestly, because nobody would hear him out. Nobody would believe him. Nobody would listen.
I did try to call Haskell Police today for an update on the investigation, but when you call, the number just goes to a general voicemail box. It didn't do that the other day. Now, also, McKee says that ICW told her to file a police report since all of this abuse came back up, and she says she plans to do so. Live, Tanya Motorzitsky, News Channel 8.